Now, Omari, you don't know anything about the X-Men,
I
right?
know a little. I know a little. I read some comics. I know enough to hold the conversation. So yeah, she was being in the fucking
You know
comics.
enough to be the conversation.
I know enough to be. You turn the page, and it's like, however, and you just see Onslaught yell, "Freedom! Now behold my mighty hand!" And another explosion goes. Onslaught. Anyway.
So anyway,
So
America
America Chavez.
Chavez.
Hey guys, y'all know who it is, what's going on, when it's happening, where it's at, and why we're here today. How you doing? It is I, the sublimely magnificent, big ugly himself, Omari Ellis Feo Grande on YouTube, and I am here once again with the man, the myth, the legend, El Director himself, Bill Smith. How you doing?
Hey, what's going on, buddy? How you doing, sir?
I'm doing phantasmic. Maybe, well, strangely so. Anyway, yes, as you can tell, this is, we don't really have a name for it, but we kind of do. This guy hasn't seen, where we pretty much have been sharing movies back and forth that one of us has seen and the other hasn't. Whether they be movies that are, look, this is a movie yo ass needs to watch as a movie aficionado, or this movie means a lot to me, or hey, I think I saw that and it was pretty cool. Yeah, let's talk about that. Just, share expanding our our movie libraries, memory libraries. I didn't have a term for that when I tried to say it. That's on me. But
Movie memory libraries.
yes,
I mean, you kind of put you put yourself in a corner. It was a tough one. It was
yeah.
a tough one. You got through it.
Yeah, but we did it. We're expanding our knowledge of movies. How about that? So yeah, this week we went with something because something I've learned in the first few episodes, and I kind of told him before. Bill has seen a lot more movies than I have. Not that there's anything wrong with that on either front.
I've watched a lot of movies.
Yeah.
There's still so many people who have watched so many more movies,
Oh, I'm
and
sure.
there's still a ton of movies out there that I haven't seen. But yes, I have particularly 10 to 25. I watched a lot of movies. Like that's all I did.
Yeah. See, 10 to 25 or 10 to over 30. There were some movies, but it was mainly video games.
Mm-hmm.
And then movies that, just put me in a good mood. But either way, I did realize something that I had seen that was recently. I was like, this is a cool movie, or I remember liking this, that I could tell him about, and it's recent. It is none other than Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Your spoiler warning goes here. Spoilers, motherfucker! Alright. Because there ain't no way I'm going to be able to spoiler-free talk about this movie with someone else who's seen it.
Right. Yeah. That goes without saying. Yes.
Yeah.
Spoilers ahead.
I mean, the other three movies we talked about had been out for like half a decade or longer, or 3 decades in one of them's case. So that's why it wasn't so much of a spoiler warning.
Where do you think that boundary lies? I kind of go by the in theaters timeline.
In theaters, yeah. Yeah, as far as, oh my god, where it's just, okay, you have no excuse to not have seen this by now. If it's like popular, okay, I'm sorry, it's been like 2-3 months, hey, or maybe in theaters, like you said. You've had the chance. It's been out for a few months now. I apologize if you didn't, but how was I to know? Now,
Right.
if it's, and we're talking about old movies, it all depends on the quality of the movie and what those spoilers are actually going to do.
Right. And that is taken with a grain of salt. That is surrounded in a veil of particular context of in that moment, obviously. Like I'm not running around going, Bruce Willis is dead in The Sixth Sense. Bruce Willis is dead in The Sixth Sense. Like, I'm not running around doing that. But, you know,
yeah.
if you, like, don't get mad at me if I accidentally spoil The Sixth Sense, a 20-year-old movie at this point.
Exactly. Only thing I've seen where it's like, hey, here's a 20-year-old spoiler that went to being common knowledge, which now can be a spoiler again. And that's Final Fantasy VII. An incident happens in that game that became very common knowledge amongst video game players. But then they decided to remake Final Fantasy VII. So now new people who somehow didn't hear that before, now that is spoilers again.
Yeah, I play video games, but I have never played Final Fantasy VII.
Fair.
If I start to play Final Fantasy VII at some point, I have not been spoiled with that information.
Fair enough.
I literally know nothing about
Sephiroth. Sephiroth is the villain.
That's okay. I was just saying a character.
Yeah.
I've heard the word Sephiroth.
Yeah, he got announced for Smash Brothers Ultimate not last December, but the December before, I'm pretty sure. He got announced as a DLC character for Smash Brothers. And
fuck Nintendo.
And that made me buy the season pass. I'm sorry.
Yeah, let me say something right now.
Go ahead.
If I have a platform, I just want to say, fuck you, Nintendo. Okay? I have a Switch. I went and bought a Switch. Before then, my wife owned a Wii that we had set up on the main TV in the house.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck you for your games being $60 always and forever. All right? You can
Yeah, I hear you. I do. At the same time, I look at some of the stuff like what are weird things when it comes to video games pricing for me, and made me realize why DLC and stuff is even more prevalent aside from just greedy money. At the end of the day, video games are like the only things that haven't adjusted for inflation.
No, granted, yes, they've been 60 for a while, like new games. But also, I don't know. I love Nintendo games.
As do I. No, I hear you. Like I said, yeah, $60 for Mario Sunshine. What?
On top of almost never dropping your prices. Occasionally there's a sale, but they have a weak digital download marketplace. Everything is overpriced for how old it is.
Yeah.
And then secondly, other than a Zelda game, your games no longer compete on a complexity level as other developers, consoles, whatnot. Like, I don't know how I can fucking pay the same exact price for Red Dead Redemption 2 as the new Super Smash Brothers. Like, the Super Smash Brothers, if it didn't have licensed content and it was the exact same game with no-name people, it would be $20 on Xbox Marketplace as a fighting game you could download. It could even be free on Game Pass.
Well, considering
that's my video game rant for the day.
A lot of Smash likes do the free and then you pay for like extra characters or skins later thing, you might be onto something. At the same time, Smash Brothers is a big name or whatever. But I hear you.
No, I understand.
And I'm not popularity, and I will tell people, and I'm not going to tell people that. Well,
I'm not even saying its quality is different.
No, your licensed content comment makes total sense. Like the main reason I bought the season pass for season 1 and 2 in that game, which I have played, I think, once in 2022, were because they announced Terry Bogard in season 1. I'm like, well, I'm buying all the DLC characters. Thank you, Nintendo. And then Sephiroth in season 2. I heard one note of that motherfucker's theme song, and I knew it was him, and I lost my shit, and I'm like, well, I guess I'm buying the season pass. I just saw it in the trailer, just to... Oh, no. Anyway, we're going on.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's just my Nintendo.
No, I'm with you.
I love Nintendo. I'm with you. Love-hate relationship with Nintendo.
Same.
We spent $60 on the new Mario Party when we bought a Switch,
Oh no.
and Jen and I consumed every available moment of content in that game in one evening. Maybe 4 hours. We played
Ooh.
every single map that was available to us. We played every mode. Like it pissed me off. It's like, how are you selling me a $60 game and you can't make these maps near infinite?
Who knows, man? I don't see. Yeah, that kind of stuff is like, what the hell? Like, at least,
But I
yeah.
also love it. I love playing Mario Party. So.
And that's where they get you, the replayability.
And that's where they get you.
It's like, it ain't got a lot of game, but you got a lot of replayability.
Yep.
So yeah, there you go. Yeah, fuck Nintendo. But yeah, back to the lecture at hand. Perfection is perfected. So whatever. Anyway, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. For those of you who don't know about Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, this movie was, the latest in a long line of the MCU films involving, and this one in particular follows Dr. Stephen Strange as he has to deal with a multiverse of madness. Alongside,
there's a madness in the multiverse.
Someone has gone mad, and now there's a multiverse. No,
we've already cleared spoilers.
Yeah.
This movie is about about Wanda finally making her villain turn.
Finally.
For real.
Yeah.
The show gave us a taste, but attempted a
redemption arc.
Possible redemption. Yeah. Because we had the post-credit scene where we see her in that cabin that Doctor Strange meets her in.
Correct.
And she is like in the back.
Yeah. Reading the fucking book.
With the book.
Now, to her point, to a point she makes in this movie that I was initially mad at when I saw the line in the trailer, but in the context of the movie, I got it a bit more, especially after seeing the whole movie. Her line of, "You break the rules and become a hero, I break the rules and become a villain," that doesn't seem fair. Now, granted, in this particular case, she still kidnapped the whole fucking city and brainwashed them into being her mind slaves so she could pretend that the robot she was fucking knocked her up.
Without a doubt, the
robot that is dead already.
A lot of pain.
The dead robot that she used to fuck somehow knocked her up with 2 kids, and she wanted to enslave an entire town to believe that, so she could hide herself in that belief. But
he's not a
she's
robot.
She's the good guy.
But
this is a fucking robot.
He's not a robot.
How's he not a robot?
He's an android.
He's not a cyborg. He's more machine than he is human.
Is an android a robot?
I'm pretty sure androids are robots. Cyborgs are like part human.
I thought
androids were like
self-aware intelligence.
I thought the anthropomorphic droid
takes him into a different.
Is that what the "an" in android stands for? Anthropomorphic? Like an anthropomorphic droid? So a droid that looks like a human?
I don't know.
Like it looks and acts like a human as opposed to a robot that looks and acts like a robot? But I thought there was pretty much Vision, at least in the MCU, was Iron Man's
humanoid robot.
Humanoid robot. Okay, yeah. He because he was trying to make Ultron the first time and he fucked up. Obviously in the comics, Hank Pym makes, but we're talking about the movies. Right. He was trying to make Ultron, but he fucked up, so he made Ultron again, but this time used the Mind Stone. And now we have Vision. So he's a superpower, cosmic-powered robot, but he's a robot nonetheless.
This is true.
So, Viz is dead because of Endgame, or Infinity War, technically, I guess.
Yeah.
But that apparently, and the way she put it, because she's like, yeah, I ended up having to kill Vision, and it literally meant nothing.
Yeah.
Because Thanos just undid it.
Because Thanos had the time stone, which Strange gave him.
Yeah.
And apparently, I think this is a few things now since Endgame,
Yeah.
and we have been given the impression as the audience that the public at large knows everything. Like they made it public in some way of like this is beat by beat
Yeah.
what happened to
Doctor
everybody.
Strange gave that dude the time stone, and that's why he was able to blink y'all out of existence. But he technically did it to save you, so you could come back into existence. But yeah, they let you know right off the bat. Like some dudes just literally at a church just like, did it have to happen? Was there no other way for real?
Doctor Strange looks weird in normal clothes.
He sure does.
I mean, Benedict Cumberbatch looks weird.
He does. I don't get the assumption aside
He
from him being cool.
he looks odd. He looks like no human has ever looked before. And on top of that, with the jet black goatee and the comic accurate hair, he looks ridiculous standing in a crowd of normal people.
He always does.
Or where I feel like there's a later scene where he's in like a hoodie and t-shirt
I think
or
so.
something.
Yeah.
It's just off. It throws me off.
Doctor Strange looks weird. He looks strange, even. I think that's part of the design. Maybe not, but it works. It's lucky coincidence. Anyway, so yeah, this movie. So going into it, before we get into like, oh, here's what happened and all that stuff. What were you? Why hadn't you seen it before this past weekend?
I'm a Marvel fan. I watch most of the properties in theaters. I was not in a rush to see it opening weekend in a crowded theater.
Fair.
And I don't know. I had resigned myself to, but that's something I'll just catch at home.
Yeah,
I'll just wait till it's available at home.
that's fair.
The Doctor Strange carrying his own movie doesn't excite me a ton compared to other Marvel properties. So that would probably be the largest reason.
I'm gonna agree with you because all right. So aside, I'll get further into it with the second part or with the next question. But as far as why I initially wasn't planning on seeing this movie at all was because people were like, "Oh yeah, it's a Doctor Strange movie," and the same reasons of I don't know how I feel about him carrying a whole movie. I liked the first one, but not that damn much. And then the idea was, hey, it's Doctor Strange, and your least favorite fucking character, Wanda. You like Wanda, don't you, Amari? No, I don't want to see a Wanda movie, because all I know is they're gonna keep trying to make you feel sorry for Wanda, and I'm sorry, I don't. Wait,
Wow.
maybe the killing Vision thing. That one, this Wanda, I feel more sorry for than the one in the comics. Because my hatred for this Wanda is kind of by association with the character that she's based off of. If you people don't know, in the comics, Wanda Maximoff, the Scarlet Witch, been an X-Men character since the 60s. She's old school. Showed up in issue 4 or whatever. Her and her brother.
Now, Amari, you don't know anything about the X-Men, right?
I know a little. I know a little. I read some comics. I know enough to hold the conversation. So yeah, she was being in the fucking comics.
You know enough to be the conversation.
I know enough to be. Yeah. She, after lots of years in the comics, she eventually gets together with Vision. After leaving the dealing with mutant things to be dealing with Avenger stuff, her and Quicksilver become more Avenger mainstays than they are X-Men stays. That's why they're able to use them for the movies. She eventually, after dating Vision for a while and some other shit happening with the Avengers, eventually she and Vision have 2 kids. One day Doctor Strange shows up and says, hey Wanda, those kids ain't real. You can't get kids from fucking a robot. So she went crazy. Also, she learned that she was really ridiculous with magic and she's more powerful than anyone could have expected. If you're seeing any parallels to what happens in this movie. So she does that, but she goes crazy. She attacks all the Avengers. A lot of shit happens. Eventually, Avengers and X-Men together are like, we gotta put her down. She's off the deep end. So they're going up a tower, getting ready to kill her. And Quicksilver convinces her, hey, everybody here's mad at you. Let's give them what they want. And, make everybody happy. You can warp reality, right? And so she does. One of said people was Magneto. You get the House of M storyline where the world is run by mutants. Magneto, head mutant in charge. As well as everybody else getting their shit. Except for Wolverine, who wanted to remember everything that's ever happened to him ever. And so he knew everything was a lie. Anyway, long story short, eventually, once everybody finishes this, Wanda gets mad, goes, Daddy, no more mutants, talking to Magneto, who was her dad at the time. And wiped out mutant kind except for like 200 throughout the Marvel universe. So she fucked over the X-Men and the X-Men franchise and stuff. And I just haven't liked her as a character since because she still tried to play herself as the victim. All because she didn't want to admit that fucking a robot doesn't knock you up with 2 kids. Anyway, so in this movie, so yeah, anyway, so I was not looking forward to a Wanda thing, but I had been holding out hope. I'll go right into what I was expecting, then I'll ask you what you were expecting, but just because it ties in with it. I had a slight sliver of hope that maybe the MCU could redeem this, could actually do it. Maybe, especially once they realize that, Wanda's going to be warping reality and stuff. I was hoping it happened in WandaVision. Then I was hoping it was happening in this movie. Maybe she does the opposite. Since Disney bought Fox, maybe she does the opposite for the MCU. Like, Daddy, more mutants, please. Or some shit. Maybe not say that. That's lame. But fucking have mutants in the fucking movies. So I was like, okay. As far as what I was expecting disappointment. I was expecting there to be no mutants confirmed to be in the multiverse. Because reasons. And I had also heard that there was like a few negative early reviews. Like, some people were just like, this movie is shit. And you're shit for wanting to see it. And I was like, damn.
It's literally any movie now, though. There's always going to be that segment of the internet that is immediately
but usually,
just like, everything is wrong.
But usually you do hear like some people going, oh, this is godlike. Before the movie released, I hadn't heard anything positive. That's what I'm saying. And then once I had some people at my work see it, they said, I was like, oh, maybe it is good. And then I saw it twice in theaters. What about you? What were you expecting?
Well, I knew that Sam Raimi was directing it. And so I knew that it was like if they allowed Sam Raimi to be Sam Raimi, it was going to feel and look different from the MCU prior.
And they did.
And that definitely came through. And so I was going into it thinking about Sam Raimi, and then I also was going into it almost on the parallel. I watched and loved WandaVision. Could care less about the character before WandaVision.
WandaVision, good show, I will admit.
I watched that and really enjoyed it, and really enjoyed Elizabeth Olsen's portrayal of Wanda.
Great actress.
And I do not have a connection to the comics Wanda. So I purely just have the MCU's Wanda. I'm aware of like the House of M storyline.
Mm-hmm.
I'm aware of No More Mutants.
Yeah.
But I was going into it with loving Elizabeth Olsen's portrayal of the new version of Wanda as she was starting to turn, and expecting. I don't know if I expected I don't know if I expected her to go as hard as the character ends up going.
Neither did I.
I thought it was going to be more of a like 70% of the movie she's helping Strange, and then like the last 30%
Yeah,
she turns.
yeah. I actually
Um,
didn't expect her to be that even big a part of the movie. I figured they just threw
oh,
in like a scene with her, and then they were gonna do some other shit. But then you look at the initials of the title being MOM, and they release it on Mother's Day. I was like, oh, okay, Mom, I get it.
I hadn't even heard that or noticed that. That is fun. So yeah,
Also, with yeah, go ahead.
I don't think I don't think I expected that much from her in a villainous role. And then beyond that, I don't know what you had been spoiled prior or teased prior. I mean, obviously the trailers teased Patrick Stewart,
Yes. That's
and then
the
the
other reason
very
I was that's the other reason I wanted to see it, and the other reason I was expecting disappointment. Because I knew in WandaVision they did that shit with the Quicksilver actor, and then they're like, haha, that's not Quicksilver, that's just some dude named Boner. Literally his last name was fucking Boner. Just as a further fuck you to the fans.
yeah.
So I'm like, nah, that's not gonna be. I know people are like it's clearly Patrick Stewart. It's gotta be Professor X. Nah, it's gonna be like Captain Picard or some shit, and then Disney's gonna announce they bought Star Trek too. And it's like, I was like, aha, perhaps we should tell him the truth. And just Captain John Picard comes out. I'm part of the Illuminati. Like you motherfucker.
And then so yeah, I was teased that, and then the very final trailer that they released teased the full Illuminati. So I was at least teased that. And if I'm honest with you, I had broken a spoiler of John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic had
Oh,
already broken through as a spoiler to me. Only that he was in it as because I saw a article about him leaving the Amazon Jack Ryan project,
okay.
and within that article it talks about how they were then speculating that he left this because, and also conveniently, the director for Fantastic Four that Disney has lined up, John Watts, who directed all the Spider-Man movies, he backed out
Mm.
of writing and directing the Fantastic Four movie almost days around John Krasinski announcing that he was backing out from Jack Ryan on Amazon.
Gotcha.
So this article speculated, well, we here at blah 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 clearly think he's going to be moving on to direct the Fantastic Four movie, where he will be reprising the role that he played in Doctor Strange.
That's
And I was like,
hilarious.
oh well,
All
fuck you.
right.
So I knew those spoilers and expected that to be a much larger piece of the movie.
Same.
Anticipated that to be like a good
I
60%
I
of the
thought it
middle
was going
chunk.
to like revolve around like them. Is
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, they're going to tell me, or maybe, and then when I'm like, okay, Wanda might be the villain, maybe that's the thing. They tell him Wanda's actually the villain, and now we all have to work together to stop this woman because she fucking crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Instead, we get maybe 10 minutes generously.
I'll give you 15.
Okay.
She took some time to she took her time. If we're talking, well, I'll give you 15 if we're talking about their in total, like the Illuminati in total, like screen time, not necessarily that one scene, which was probably like 5-10 minutes. But so I'm agreeing with you nonetheless.
Right.
They weren't.
Well, no, yeah. I guess if you include like the scenes in the cell with the variant Christine and all of that,
Well,
then yeah,
well,
yeah,
more no, more so like the fighting and stuff after they are
oh,
announced.
I think John Krasinski Patrick Stewart, that Captain Marvel,
Oh,
and that Black Bolt.
specifically Jon Stewart and Pat
I think
Kaczynski. Yeah, they
all of
just
them, like the actual Illuminati,
gotcha.
have maybe 5 minutes of screen time.
I'll give you 10 generously. Uh, I'll agree. Like I said, I agree with you with your
Man,
original assessment. It's so slow.
Like if we can jump to
Sure.
standout moments,
Yeah,
when she
standout moments.
ices all of that, when she ices the entire Illuminati
I was
while she's projecting herself.
dream walking.
She's dream walking, projecting herself into another her in another universe, and so probably already far limited in her potential power scale, and just fucking smokes all of them.
I felt sad about Charles dying. Blah. Obviously, one thing I will say, cool with the introduction of him. Came out, had the fucking '90s X-Men theme playing.
Yes, I leaned over to Jed and I go, "It's yellow. It's yellow."
It was the yellow hover chair, and he had the green suit on.
Yeah.
It was literally just cartoon Charles.
No,
like,
that was just a
shit.
To the fans. That's what they were doing there.
And then they had to murder him, and I was like, okay,
because they really want you to fucking hate Wanda.
well, I already do,
and I can't imagine she's done. Spoilers: she pulls at the end of the movie. I mean, spoilers. At the end of the movie, she destroys the castle upon herself, covering her in rubble and all of that.
Yeah.
I doubt she's done.
And also multiverses exist, so anybody could show Wanda could show up, or anybody can die now, as they were proving with this movie. Now they have license to kill whoever they want, because at the end of the day, or recast, because they could just pull someone from another fucking universe.
Yeah.
And be like, yeah, different person. Because, I mean, especially when you had Captain Marvel be the black chick instead of just Carol dressed differently.
Mm-hmm.
And Mr. Fantastic and Charles Xavier actually existing. Because that's the other thing. They're like, oh yeah, see, they exist in another universe that's not ours. So shut up. That's why I was like, you sons of bitches. And also, it's like, while I felt bad about Charles, I felt real bad for Fantastic Four fans. Because Reed Richards didn't get to do shit.
No.
He just...
I love John Krasinski, and I love how he played him in just a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, he looked like, I mean, I don't know if these actors got direction to, like, you are hardened, battered, old versions of these characters. Like John Krasinski, I feel like, was playing a very heavy-hearted.
Yeah.
Like, he was on the verge of tears in almost every line he was delivering.
Yeah, because they're from a post Thanos thing, and they're also perpetuating a lie that Doctor Strange, didn't do what happened, when they're the ones who decided, yeah, he gotta pass. So, quick synopsis of like some things, because we jumping all around. That's perfectly fine. Whatever the same. But so the movie involves. We mentioned Doctor Strange. We mentioned Wanda. There is another key important character to this plot, and,
of course.
And the movie starts with a different universe Doctor Strange and her being chased by a giant demon. This character's name is America Chavez. I may have heard the name America Chavez before this movie. I had no idea what she was about and what she could do. And
she's she is a new millennia comic character.
Mm-hmm. She's like recent. 20 teens.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure she's 20 teens. I think in the comics she's a mutant. Maybe she might be a mutant, and that's why she has her powers. And to be fair, in the movie they don't really have an origin of here's how I got my powers. It's here's how they activated one day, and it kind of ruined my life. Which,
Yeah, and
to be fair, is very indicative of mutant power activating. It's just, oh hey, one day I was just sitting here and oh god, now my life is terrible because I have powers.
that might be how they end up doing this in the MCU, is just slowly leaking out these characters
Mm,
and just and not giving us, because and really we've seen the X-Men allegory for insert civil rights or insert sexual orientation rights,
yeah,
anything like that. Like those allegories of we've seen that in the Bryan Singer movies, and even in the, I don't know what you would call the other series. What's the shorthand for the McAvoy?
oh, the
Uh,
the new ones. I don't know. I don't really have a shorthand for them, but I know what
the
you're talking about.
the
First, I
first
wanted to say
class.
prequels, and then I was yeah, I guess prequels.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean they all end up being prequels to the first trilogy,
yeah,
but yeah, they all follow that allegory. And so if you don't do that kind of origin where it's just immediately us versus them, of mutants versus normies,
yeah.
um, then yeah, you don't have to. And we can see other comic stories.
Fair. But yeah, I was like, yeah, you need to introduce the X Men, because then you can eventually build up to like them having a villain with the whole onslaught thing, which did involve the X Men and the Avengers and the Fantastic Four. Like, so you bring them into the MCU. That's something that you can build to, because that was a guy who was that kind of fucking threat in the comics. Behold
Mm-hmm.
my mighty hand, which somehow makes an explosion go off. Take it. He would just say, "Behold my mighty hand," and then an explosion would go off. It happened earlier in the thing, and then later there was a time where they finally like found a way to like try and beat him or whatever. Because at the core of Onslaught is Charles Xavier. Um, they open up Onslaught's armor. They have Hulk tackle Xavier out of Onslaught, and the comic goes, "It should be over. Charles Xavier is Onslaught. Onslaught is Xavier. Peace should be upon us." And then you turn the page, and it's like, however, and you just see Onslaught yell, "Freedom! Now behold my mighty hand!" And another explosion goes. Onslaught. Anyway.
So anyway,
So
America
America
Chavez
Chavez.
is a teenage girl who has the power to travel through the multiverse. She has the power to open up star-shaped. I'm really
Giant
surprised
ass
that they did the
star.
stars. If that they carried the stars over from the comics. That also feels very mutiny.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't be surprised if
Yeah,
she's a mutant.
specifically star-shaped patterns. Just
Yeah, opening
boom.
up that allow you to travel through the multiverse. We find out about halfway in through the movie that she has been traveling the multiverse almost her entire life, living on her own, because she accidentally did this when she was a child.
Yeah, she was about to be stung by a bee, and she got scared, causing her mother's to causing a portal to open up and send her mother somewhere in the multiverse. They gone, and so she eventually, and also like most mutants, her main block of not being able to control it had to deal with the fact that she was fucking terrified by its activation. Much
Yeah.
like Rogue. Uh and so it's like, oh no, you gotta do this. So she can only really activate it when she's scared. It just happens. So she had no real control over it. But here's this thing. And for whatever reason, somebody early in the movie, we later find out it's Wanda, is sending demons after her because they want her power. What?
America Chavez is not a mutant.
Okay.
She grew up in a special multiverse dimension called the Utopian Parallel.
Okay, I saw like a thing when I first went out. The thing I literally clicked on the first thing I saw. You probably did as well, but I'm saying that day there's like a young mutant, so she's not a mutant. Never mind. So there's still no mutants in the MCU, but they're still very
But her
mutant-like.
path follows
Yeah,
the X-Men
yeah,
character building path
yeah, definitely follows that ideal. But
for sure.
yeah. Anyway, so she's been traveling to multiverse. Eventually, she found Doctor Strange of a different universe, trying to save her from a demon. But the demon captures her, and Doctor Strange is like, "I gotta take your power before they can. I gotta sacrifice. You know, in the total summation of the multiverse, your sacrifice will mean more than your survival." Or he tries to say that, which is a line Doctor Strange uses in a previous movie, our Doctor Strange uses in a previous movie, trying to be like, "Hey, he
To
do those
Tony.
things." Yeah, to
I
Tony,
think he's talking about not giving up Thanos
the
the time
time
stone to
stone.
Thanos,
Yeah,
and he's referring to Spider-Man and Tony,
yeah,
and yeah, that he will let them die if it means giving up the time stone, which he of course backs out of. And
only because it was the only way he could win.
right, right.
But
Yeah, so this is the first scene of the movie. This is the
yeah,
first scene of the
that's how the
movie.
movie opens.
We're
Just
getting a different Doctor Strange running with a character that we've never met in this crazy ass cosmic place. Then he tries to murder her. He ends up getting killed, and she travels through another multiverse portal to arrive in our main MCU universe, which they even named out loud 616.
yep, which is or was the main canonic universe of the comics.
Correct.
And I was like, "Wait, you named this one six one
I thought
six?"
Marvel had already given the MCU universe a number,
So did
which
I.
was what was surprising to me
Same.
that I believe it's John Krasinski's Mr. Fantastic who ends up
Yeah, saying that they were 838 and no, um, Christine
called says that our
is
Doctor Strange
is
is
six one
from
six.
is 616.
Yeah, because she is who he meets when he's in the little cage. But yeah, so yeah, Doctor Strange turns out him and Christine they never got together like most superheroes. It's like, hey, I want to date this chick, but I can't. Okay.
Seems to be the universal common thread with all the Doctor Stranges we meet is that him and Christine just does not work. But
Nope.
he will eternally want it to.
I love you in every universe. It's like, well, I mean, you're not wrong.
Nope.
Also, they all got a watch from her that
You hate
breaks.
me in most.
And you're dead in others.
Right.
That's unfortunate. Yeah, so she eventually runs into our Doctor Strange. So the other Doctor Strange that got stabbed by the demon dies. And that's pretty much her proof to our Doctor Strange and Wong, who's the new Sorcerer Supreme, because Doctor Strange died for disappeared for 5 years. Um, when America Chavez does run into Doctor Strange and Wong, who save her from another demon. Which cool scene there when I like the little effect when he's like sees the stuff going on in the street at the wedding because Christine's literally marrying somebody else. Speaking of her not ever getting with him,
Correct.
he's like, "Oh, hold my drink, please," and he just jumps off the balcony and transforms into his costume like in the process. Like, all right, I'm like, oh, that's just what a
Mm-hmm.
that's
Captivates
cool.
and steals the entire wedding. Of course, conveniently, the wedding reception has a number of balconies positioned for a perfect audience to this battle against a giant octopus eyeball. Believe not named Shumagarath
Not named
because
Shumagora.
because the Conan the Barbarian state are apparently litigious.
Really, Conan the Barbarian, not even like something Lovecraftian.
No, yeah, apparently it's directly in Disney is afraid of the Conan the Barbarian's estate. And they feel that naming the character Shumagarath would would cause some legal action.
Makes
That's
me
what I
wonder.
read.
What makes me wonder if they'll ever use the villain Sauron from X-Men. Probably not. Who even in the comics is named after the Tolkien character. That's his name he chooses because it's the most evil name he can think of.
Maybe if they can loophole acknowledging that it is named after the Tolkien character.
Like they did in the comics. Maybe there you go. Like, no, we're not taking. No, he's naming himself after him. No, that's fine.
It's an honoring.
Yeah.
Like we don't have to pay every James that calls us.
True. True. The realization. But yeah, so she tells him about that. She shows him the proof that, hey, dude's dead. I am from a different multiverse. Multiverse is real. Congratulations. And eventually, Doctor Strange tries to get some help from Wanda.
He goes to Wanda because both monsters they've encountered were covered in runes.
Oh yeah, witchcraft.
That Wong and Strange both said were not our kind of magic. They were like witchcraft magic.
That's a good point. Yeah.
And so Strange is like, well, I personally know a witch.
I did also like her comment. She's like, why me? Why not any of the other Avengers? He's like, well, Tony and Cap don't exist anymore. Thor's off planet. Hulk cost too much. And given the choice between you and several bug-themed superheroes, I figured I'd go with you. And I'm like, several? Well, you got Spider-Man, Ant-Man, Black Widow, the Wasp. Oh, yeah?
Yeah. You got some bug heroes out there.
You got a lot of bugs. But yeah, also he doesn't know Spider-Man anymore. He knows of him, but he doesn't know Spider-Man is
Correct.
Peter Parker. I think he knows that he worked with Spider-Man in the past, but he doesn't know who Peter Parker is.
Yeah, like really the only thing that he bypassed potentially superhero wise is Hulk, and like you said, that would be really expensive for the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And they already have Hulk slated to co-star in She-Hulk coming up on Disney Plus.
There you go.
So he's kind of already taken timeline wise.
Also his arm. He fucked up his arm in Endgame.
Right, yeah, we're not sure how bad that is.
Yeah, even when time had passed enough for the funeral, it was in a sling.
That's true. That's absolutely true. And then he would have bypassed Wakanda. And we all know why they didn't go there.
Yeah. So he's like, yeah, runes, witches, and yeah, I just want you to help. And she's like, well, I ain't helping America Chavez unless you bring her to me. He's like, I ain't tell you her name. She's like, yeah, you right. I'm evil, and I'm coming for that bitch. And
boom, immediately we get the turn, and immediately this movie is all about Elizabeth Olsen for me. It's all about Elizabeth Olsen's portrayal of Wanda.
Yeah.
I think she does an amazing job.
She does.
That turn, the line that's in the trailers of like, when you do this, you're the hero. When I do this, I'm the villain. Doesn't seem fair. Like that the delivery of that line, her face.
Yeah.
She's doing an amazing job.
And throughout the movie, we will continue to see Doctor Strange literally just break the rules. In every universe, he breaks the rules. That's just what he do. And she even calls him out on it later in the movie. But yeah, it turns out she calls herself being reasonable with the way she's been appropriate. It's like, you're trying to kill a girl and take her powers. But she wants to take a girl's powers because she really wants her kids to fucking exist. And apparently, in this movie, if you dream about something, It's not really something you just made up in your mind. You're living through pretty much the eyes of one of your other multiversal selves.
Yes, that's what this movie is claiming.
Yes, that's what I said. In this
Our
movie.
dreams are portals, are views into the multiverse.
Yes, if you see something, if you're falling off a roof, it's because some motherfucker just killed one of your other multiversal selves. Uh, that's how it be, I guess. But so she's like, my kids exist because I dream about them. Meanwhile, I'm thinking, what if you go crazy in every fucking universe? Have you considered this? But she's like, no, I dream about my kids every day, and I should not be the only Wanda in existence that's not allowed to have kids. So I'm killing this girl. And later they do bring up a point. Okay, why not just ask her to send you to another universe?
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, because if they get sick, I'm gonna need a cure, and there's gotta be a cure out there in the multiverse for everything. My kids is living forever.
But again, this is a crazy bitch who we are told at this moment, like, wants a 10 and 12-year-old, and she wants them to be a 10 and 12-year-old forever. Like, she's gonna figure out how to do that.
Yeah, pretty much.
And she's gonna kill anyone who gets in her way.
Especially once Dr. Strange says no. She's like, well, just know I'm still being reasonable right now because I thought I was reasonable enough. I just told you to give it to me. I didn't do what I'm about to do. And yeah, tax comartage, people just dying left and right. Jesus Christ. And then also, and this is where it starts becoming more of a horror movie also. It's more of a horror movie than a superhero movie. Especially with the whole, they're in the room and fucking grabbing them through the reflection and just killing her like, ah! Fucking coming out the fucking thing like the fucking Ring girl. Like, no, a lot of cool effects here. But eventually, Doctor Strange and America escape by going through another star portal, which takes them to 838 universe. And then Wanda's just like, well, I'm going to use a spell called Dream Walking where I can possess another multiversal self and live and use them pretty much as a puppet for X amount of time as long as I've got the book. And so she does that to follow them with the Dream Walking thing.
Are we going to go beat by beat through this movie?
We don't have to.
I don't think we've done that in any other episode.
Okay. Good. Good. Because that'd make it take way too long because I'm going through the whole fucking movie. But no, they go. That's where they eventually go. However, in 838, see the Illuminati. Illuminati killed. Oh, one random standout moment.
So we are gonna go through the.
No, I have skipped some stuff.
Yeah, you have.
Well, I will say one standout moment with that though. And one that annoyed the hell out of me when those kids were trying their best to seem as sympathetic or make her get as much feelings as possible about her non-existent kids when she sees the two kids. Mom, we have a summit. We want ice cream.
Oh God, yeah.
I'm like, oh, I hate this, but I also couldn't help but laugh because I'm like, oh, this is the most emotionally manipulative shit she could see right now.
This is just reaffirming everything that she's thinking.
So that was funny. But yeah, eventually, big fight. Doctor Strange tells what's her name. She can use her powers after he's had to dreamwalk into his own corpse because reasons. After beating a evil version of himself, because also we find out every other Doctor Strange used this evil book instead of Wanda, I guess. The Darkhold. Every other Doctor Strange eventually uses the Darkhold.
Seeks out the Darkhold and uses it.
And gets some kind of consequence for it that fucks everybody over.
Mm-hmm.
And then our Doctor Strange is like, well, to stop Wanda, I gotta use the Darkhold. Maybe that'll fuck everybody over. Who knows? But he dreamwalks into his
It
own
is his
corpse.
only option at that point. Like Christine gives him some lip about it, like that universe is
You
Christine.
always have to be the
But
one holding the knife.
like I just wanted him to look up and be like, "Bitch, you want to stay here?
Okay,
Do you want to stay here?
you
Because
do
I don't know
something.
any other way to travel the fucking multiverse."
I am not America Chavez.
Right.
By the way, that name just makes so many lines more hilarious than they need to be. You must take America's power. You can do it, America. Stay strong. Is America safe? Like,
Uh-huh.
I couldn't help but laugh. And that's her actual name, as far as we know. That's not like a nickname. Her name is America, so it's even better. Even though she
Is
decided,
that even her name? Was she too young? Did she have to invent her own name at some point?
maybe. Well, like I said, as far as we know, they can do whatever. Because she does fully embrace the branding. Like, she has a jacket with the fucking blue jacket with the red and white stripes and the giant stars that conveniently are shaped like the portals that only appear when she's scared, so she should be traumatized by them. But and thus wouldn't put a star on her back. But no, she embraced the branding. She's America Chavez.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, eventually Doctor Strange and Wanda, cool fight, but America Chavez learns to control her powers. Now she can punch you with the multiverse. I'm gonna whoop your ass in like 8 universes simultaneously.
Right.
Well, at first I was like, well, what does that actually do? And I'm like, well, when you think about it, she's just punching you in the like 8 portals. Because in this movie, she doesn't just open one portal whenever she opens it. It's like you ever point a camera at a camera and you see it just kind of go infinity into the background, or a mirror at a mirror. Yeah, it's like that with multiverses that she makes. So, and she's like punching those into people. And it's like, okay, yeah, if I'm getting my ass whooped with like 100 universes with every fucking punch. Because she's the only she's the only copy of herself in the multiverse.
Right. That is what makes her unique.
She is unique to the multiverse, along the lines of a Rachel Summers. But yeah, she's unique to the multiverse. So who knows? Maybe she does. Maybe she has the powers of all the multiverses versions of herself in one person, a la Jet Li the One.
Yeah. I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
But yeah, she eventually makes Wanda see how much she scares the kids because she's evil. And Wanda like, oh, change your heart. Now feel sorry for me as I kill myself. And I'm like, okay. Someone's like, are they gonna try to? They're like, I'm glad they didn't try to make Wanda redeemable. I'm like, give them time. Marvel can't help but try to make you feel sorry for Wanda. That's their thing. They've been doing it forever. They're like, feel sorry for Wanda, regardless of what she does. Just because someone stumbled and lost their way doesn't mean they're lost forever. Anyway, what role would you play in this movie?
So that was Omari's standout moment.
The entire fucking movie.
Like 70% of the plot of the movie. Which, if they're watching this and they've stuck around through the spoilers, they've watched the movie. You've just told everybody what they watched.
Look, man. We mentioned it earlier about the whole X-Men thing. You're like, I think you are the conversation.
I mean, hey.
Yeah, and it's like, oh yeah, so this reminds me of this thing from the comics now that you mentioned.
What roles would I play? Oh, I don't know. I don't know if there's a role in this movie for me.
Fair.
I could be the crazy. I could take Bruce Campbell's part and be the crazy hot dog guy.
Cool. Bruce Campbell cameo. That was cool.
Yeah.
Uh, the pizza ball. The
Oh yeah.
pizza papa. Pizza papa's pizza balls. Because America thought all food was free in the universe. So she's like, no, food's free in this universe. It's free in most universes. Turns out it ain't free. She just steals it.
Yeah.
But yeah. So me, I wouldn't mind playing a black variant of some other superhero, or maybe be a Black Charles. I mean, you had a Black Miss Marvel, but I think it's also she was her friend from the past. I think someone said it's like, oh, it's Monica Rambeau.
Yeah, that's the same actress that played her Maria Rambeau.
Either Maria or Monica.
Or was that her daughter?
One of them's. I think someone said the name was Monica Rambeau, but it's either way, it's the mom.
Yeah, yeah.
It's Photon's mom. Yeah, so that was cool. Well, maybe not play her, but you know what I mean. Like play Black Reed.
I can see you doing Black Bolt
Black Bolt even.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be fine. Yeah, especially if all I gotta do is sit there, smile, and die. Cool. Maybe say I'm sorry.
You gotta give me your best. Freak out that your mouth doesn't exist. Action. You're hired. Just threw your back out.
Yeah. So.
Otherwise, I mean, if we're going that,
that's about it.
I could play a White Wong. I know I could do a White Wong pretty well. Like that's my kind of role. Yeah. But I was thinking, well,
I'm saying that's about all I can say. That's what I'm saying. I could. Yeah, especially after that whole Iron Fist incident. Even though the character he is technically a white guy.
Right. It's just like, but so was every character back then when he was written.
The bottom line is, and it wasn't like they cast Shang-Chi as a white guy.
Right.
That's all I was saying. They weren't whitewashing Iron Fist. He was white to begin with. Mm-hmm. That's all.
No, yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree.
But no, because like you said, for the most part, though, no, I can't really see myself doing a lot of things in this movie especially because a lot of them have already been cast and established.
Right.
And at this point, and a lot of the characters who have been established in those roles are like, yeah, I can't see anybody else play that role until I see somebody else play that role.
Right.
But yeah.
You can't imagine anybody else being Wolverine but Hugh Jackman until the first great next movie.
No Tony Stark, that's not Robert.
Right.
Until I see them show up. And it's like,
and the movie's good.
And the movie's good. Like there are two movie Magnetos for me. I like Ian McKellen and I like the prequel one. Oh god.
Michael Fassbender.
Yes, Michael Fassbender. I like his Magneto as well.
Yeah.
So, hey, turns out you can recast.
I really prefer the Rebecca Romaine Stamos Mystique myself.
Yeah.
No, I was just.
Okay. Oh, because I didn't say there's two Mystiques.
I don't care.
Because I didn't say there's two Mystiques.
I don't know. I just assumed that would be a silly thing to say.
Go fair.
Because Mystique is the lead of the three trilogy of the second trilogy.
So it is.
And barely speaks in the first trilogy. Because she's Rebecca Romaine Stamos and not an actress.
True. But but so not that. But any final thoughts? How did you enjoy the movie overall, or did you?
I really enjoyed Elizabeth Olsen's performance.
Fair.
I don't know how I feel about the Sam Raimi of it all and the collective whole of a movie. I don't know if I'm. I just kind of left the theater going, eh.
Okay.
Other than really loving Elizabeth Olsen's performance.
Gotcha. I enjoyed the movie more than I thought I would.
You went back a
Uh,
second time.
yeah, I did. I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. Clearly, I went back a second time. Two different groups of like friends showing them the movie, so it was each of their first times,
Mm-hmm.
and that was cool. Um, the the second time I'm watching it with a bit more of an understanding. Oh, hey, this is what I should be expecting. Not when they say, "Oh, it's not an Avengers movie," because I didn't know what people meant by that when they were saying that at first. Like I didn't even realize the thing. I'm pretty sure it was rated R, and if it wasn't, I'm surprised. Just because of how graphic some of those things get.
I would imagine it was a PG-13 movie.
Even with people's heads exploding and pulling eyeballs out.
You can do a lot with blood and gore these days, man. It's
I'm
really
about to say, if we
it's really just titties. That's really all it is. It's just titties.
Which is hilarious because it's like
the
that.
only boundary.
Which is
anymore.
hilarious because it's like that at work too. It's like, oh, you can't watch rated R movies. Well, you can if they're violent, but no nudity. I'm like, what?
PG-13.
That's hilarious.
I mean, you can. I think you can even say 2 fucks.
Oh, you can say 2 now.
Movie now. I believe it's up to 2.
Wow. Because I know the X-Men movies, the prequels, abused the fuck word. They made sure they tried to say that at least once in each of them. And usually it involved Wolverine. First movie, he says it to Charles. Second movie, Charles says it to him. And I forget where it's used in the third.
I remember that now, yeah.
But yeah, no, I enjoyed it. I think someone at work was like, yeah, I'd say I'd give it about a 7 or 8. And I'm like, yeah. I can't see myself going a third time to see it in the theaters.
Yeah, it's currently sitting at a 7.3 on IMDb. I think that's a pretty appropriate score.
Yeah.
Like at this point in the MCU train, it may be impossible for them to make something bad. Like,
yes.
Objectively bad.
Yeah.
It's always
it ain't the other
time well spent.
Yeah.
Like I'm never regretting
it wasn't even
time.
a long Marvel film.
No, 2 hours and 6 minutes is on the shorter side for
Marvel.
A big like AAA movie.
Especially
nowadays.
for Marvel. Marvel loves the 3-hour movies.
Yep. Or minimum 2.5.
Yeah, this one was like, nah, you can get out of here.
I have a small celebration on my couch whenever I find out a movie's an hour and 30.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this is gonna go by like nothing.
Yeah.
The other day we watched Superstar here at the house. and it's an hour and 26 minutes.
Jesus.
Goes by
So fast.
like nothing.
Just straight to the point.
So yeah, what was your overall take?
The same.
Yeah, you said that. Yeah, you look like a 7.
Yeah, like a 7 or so, about what it's rated on IMDb. It was good. It was good. Well, all right. So I think we've talked quite a bit for today about various things, Doctor Strange or otherwise.
Nintendo, I'm coming for you.
Right? Put the fucking X-Men in the MCU for realsies. Make some actual X-Men movies. You don't have Tony anymore. You made sure he was dead. Cap's dead too. Hulk can't do nothing else.
Room.
What big names you got left? What big
man.
names you got left? Hell, you just had Wanda fucking kill herself. You need somebody to carry this franchise.
The terrible Phoenix movie just came out while we were in the pandemic, didn't it?
No, came out like 2018 or 19.
2019 is
you need
that's right before the
Disney.
pandemic.
You like money, right?
That's like
you like money. Ago. The cash cow that carried Marvel through the 90s is still here. It's just there, waiting for you to get more money.
It'll stay there.
Stop.
Guess what, Omari?
Us.
Here's Marvel. Here's Marvel struggling to carry all of their current cash cows.
I said they like money. I said they like money.
They're gonna come. They're gonna come. We're gonna get Fantastic Four, and then we might even get another. I would imagine it's going to be the next Avengers, or Avengers type movie that they might not even call Avengers. Some sort of the next mega collection of. I don't even know if they're going to
Yeah, because
bring
I don't know
in.
where they're going right now with some of these things. Because She-Hulk's fine. I know that they decided to announce a Nova movie, and because I mean they've been meaning to do that for a while, but once they ignored him for a decade, I'm like, oh, I guess that's not happening. No, they're like, no, it's still happening, and I'm like, Moon Knight, Nova, She-Hulk, Doctor Strange.
Echo is also going to be on Disney Plus. They're bringing back Daredevil on Disney Plus. They're going to do a new season of that.
I'm just saying that Avengers team needs some like big names. That's all I'm saying. Something to bring in the comic book fan, because you killed your main like mainstays.
Yeah, well, you got the Fantastic. They're producing the Fantastic Four movie, so they got.
Oh, they
So
are.
you got. Yeah, well, like I told you, that they had John Watts, who directed the 3 MCU Spider-Mans. He was writing and directing Fantastic Four.
Okay.
And then backed out of the project. But
Gotcha.
coming up, I mean, they have Thor: Love in the Filmiverse. They have Thor, Black Panther 2, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, Captain Marvel 2, which is now called the Marvels, plural, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumanium. That's what's like already produced and going to be coming out within the next 2 years, 1 year.
Oh, really? I figured that's like the next 3 or 4.
No, those are all already made.
Oh.
They've already shot them all.
Fair enough.
So beyond that, I believe it was you got your Fantastic Fours, and then you're probably going to have an Avengers type movie of these films that I just named, plus Doctor Strange, plus Wanda. I don't know how much they're going to incorporate Disney Plus shows. I don't know if that's going to end up being a thing.
Well, I feel like Spider-Man.
I feel small time for Avengers stuff.
Well, I feel like Spider-Man and new Doctor Strange are solely possible because Loki happened.
That's true.
Just like the Wanda thing was going on, and someone mentioned if you time up Wanda going full on Scarlet Witch for the first time, that scene with Kang's speech with Loki and them, his pause that he randomly has, he's like, uh-oh.
That's her clicking over to the Scarlet Witch.
Yeah, it's like, so it seems like the two of those things definitely inform these movies that they're making. But I feel like Captain Falcon and the Winter Soldier isn't going to lead to too much on the big movies. It might lead to something in Daredevil or something like that.
Yeah, I mean that, and She-Hulk, and
Hawkeye probably doesn't really do anything.
Hawkeye, like Hawkeye, baby lady Hawkeye doesn't really scream films.
Yeah, Moon Knight.
Avengers
that's why I was
moments.
like Moon Knight.
Moon Knight, I could see getting involved in some big shit.
Fair enough. I still need to watch the last 2 episodes, but yeah.
Just with his power set, like,
gotcha.
He can fly, and he's basically
he could be like, I could see him show up because he's not one of the lessers. Well, and She-Hulk could show up and punch some shit. I mean, it's literally Hulk but female.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, we'll see. I mean, they're coming. They are coming.
Fucking better. I'm tired of these fake outs. Well, stop with the fake outs. Fool me once, fool me twice. Fuck you.
Just be glad you got a live action yellow hovering.
That's why that's why I didn't come in here ranting about the movie itself and like, how dare they? I just said stop it now, okay? It's no longer cute.
It's no longer cute.
Thank you. But you can stop now.
Yep.
That's all. But yeah.
It's the summary of this.
Yeah, so there's the summary of it. We liked it. It wasn't super fantastic. But, it was just strange enough to be good.
But I'll see you guys around. You know where you can find me, and more classic comedy like that. You can find it elsewhere here on this channel. You can also find me elsewhere on YouTube at the Whatever We Want podcast every week, every Wednesday. Check it out. You can, yeah, that's where you can find me. You can also find me streaming on Twitch at Giotavi, Giotavi. And yeah, Bill, anything you want to tell the folks?
No, you can go check out. I recommend going and check it out. Whatever We Want podcast. Musical artist named Super Jazz.
Super Jazz. There you go.
His new album, My Secret Identity. If you go to Spotify, you can type in Super Jazz. You might have to add My Secret Identity to that because he's not that famous yet.
There you go. And yeah, so yeah, see you guys around. There should be more stuff coming up on this channel real soon. But yeah, you guys have a good day. Adiosness.